We are back on Morning Line. Thanks for joining us. Lots of calls. Interesting conversation talking presidential race, the debate from this past Saturday in South Carolina for the Republicans. Of course, the situation now with the Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia is going to have to be replaced after his untimely death over the weekend. Professor Kent Seiler is with us from MTSU. Nice to have you on, sir.
Thanks.
Conversation continues, and we've got more calls, and we'll go next to Gary. Gary, good morning.
Hi, how are you guys doing this morning?
Good, Gary. What's on your mind?
I think the debate was a joke. Trump, I mean, oh my God. I mean, he continues to me to give the Republican Party a black eye moving forward across the country and even into the presidential race. I feel like a lot of voters, people I know, Latinos, they see his arrogance, his manners, how he treats the other candidates. It's not good. It's not good even for them because of how he acts and how he conducts himself. I think the voters, the real voters across this country are going to really see that, and they're already seeing it, and that's why a lot of them don't like him. As far as the Democrats, Hillary got to pick it up. She definitely has to pick it up because I think Bernie's coming for her right now. And basically, people are starting to look at her the same way with the issues and things that come with her. But as far as this guy who just passed away, there was a senator, and the Republicans jumping down, wanting Obama not to be involved in that and ruin his job. I think that's just to me, it just speaks volumes about how they've treated him as president all along. Period. They don't respect him. They don't even. They basically saying, "Don't do your job. Just let us, just whatever." Well, and then when the next president comes, we gonna do it, whatever. And like you said, that could be a disaster. You know what I'm saying? Waiting that long to do all that. So there's a lot of issues.
Oh, I agree with you. You know, and it really is absurd. But understand that what we're hearing from them is politics. Sure. The bottom line is every single one of those candidates are saying, wait for the next administration. If they were in the president's shoes right now, it would be nominating one. Every single one. And if they say otherwise, they're lying, okay? You know for a fact. Sure. In fact, that was the first question to Donald Trump in the debate this weekend. And he acknowledged, he goes, yeah, you know, I guess if I was in the president's shoes right now and this happened, I'd be nominating someone in my last year. Of course you would. Now, that doesn't mean the Senate has to confirm them, but come on.
Yeah,
come on.
The credibility of that argument will be one of the things that is tested. The less credible the senator, and Senator Mitch McConnell from Kentucky was one of the first to say he shouldn't do it. And I'm sure people will remind voters later that Senator McConnell was the one that said early on that they should vote against everything President Obama tries to do in order to make him a failed president. So, you know, there's a lot of history back and forth. And Gary talked about, we hadn't talked hardly any about the Democratic primaries and Bernie Sanders. You know, Bernie Sanders, it was a whipping on Hillary Clinton in New Hampshire. Yeah. So South Carolina is going to be very vital, and so is Super Tuesday. You know, as it moves down here, suddenly Hillary Clinton is on a more friendly playing field. But you know, can she head him off? And you know, just as the Republicans may be afraid of Donald Trump and Ted Cruz, you know, if Hillary Clinton's the nominee, she's going to be a somewhat damaged nominee with the investigations, the emails, and those things. So, you know, it is neither party has really a shoe-in for a general election victory right now.
Makes for a lot of drama.
Yeah.
Let's go to Bob. Hi, Bob.
Oh, hey, it's a great program. I'm just saying, President ought to go ahead and pick some nominees. I mean, you got a year left or something.
Yep.
Start with, and the two-party system. Now you're dealing, you know, with. You also got your Communist Party out there, which is going to be going into both of those two parties. You know, they'd say it Nazis, and it's just weird like that.
Well, I don't know if either of those parties will be in there, but he does. But I don't think the Communist Party is going to have a candidate. But I do think people will be wondering if one or two of these candidates finish very close but don't get the nomination. Do you think there's a chance we see one running as an independent? Remember, they were bringing that up about Trump maybe if they turn the back on him. And we're hearing now about former, New York Governor Bloomberg. Do you think we could see some independents jump into the race? And while they may not have a chance to win, they can pull votes and affect the election.
Yeah, an independent that pulls the parties are so close. in votes, that an independent on the Republican side will pretty well guarantee a Democratic victory. An independent on the Democratic side will pretty well guarantee a Republican victory. I think Governor or Mayor Bloomberg has said that if the nominees are Donald Trump and Senator Sanders, that then he might get in as a third party. So, and you know, Senators, would you think Senator Sanders was a Democratic socialist and independent prior to?
Yeah, he's always been an independent, right?
Yeah, and so you know, who would think that? A Democratic socialist would be playing a major role in the Democratic Party right now.
All right, let's go to Tony. Hi, Tony.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Nick, very important question. Justice Scalia, whatever you want to call him, he didn't do anything for his own people, especially during immigration. And I don't understand why people are putting him on this high pedestal. When he was in a position almost like Moses, he could have done a lot for his nationality and his people and this nation. And he failed to do so because he was too much into politics, which he shouldn't have been if he was a senior. He's supposed to be unbiased. Then, and I want to know why come California ain't playing a big role, because California is like a United Nations combination of all ethnics. And I think they should have did something over there first, because they could, decide who and where they stand. But like I said, this man right here should have been an autopsy. If you try to do an autopsy on a death row inmate in the state of Tennessee that's been electrocuted or put to death, you know what he died of, but he had to go to court. So why didn't they do this on this man right here?
Well, I don't know if more questions will be asked. I didn't see anything more about this. I mean, I don't think anyone's saying there was any foul play involved with this. I mean, his doctors said he was ailing, and he went away. So I think that's a moot point. But his family and anyone else could have called for an autopsy, and they're apparently not doing so. So just leave it at that. Let's go to Peter. Peter, good morning.
Morning, Nick.
Hey, Peter.
Yeah, I just have a point about the pundits that are commenting. They all seem to be so politically aware of things, but they've been wrong just about everything concerning this election. And I think the one thing the establishment is making a big mistake on when it comes to Donald Trump, the establishment of the Republican Party, is their constant attacks. They've even formed a pact now of Republicans who are determined to stop Trump from getting the candidacy. And I think they don't understand the constituency that Trump has behind him. There's one-third of the people that support him are former Democrats, myself included. And I think that a lot of those people won't vote for anyone. They'll sit the election out, as I will, if anybody else is nominated. I think the Republican Party is going to have to treat him a lot fairer, because I think there's also a possibility, if he gets angry enough, he'll run as an independent. I think the Republican Party needs to focus on winning elections and not just worrying about who the candidate will be. Thanks, Nick.
Thanks a lot for your call. That's right on there.
Yeah,
you say the party wants to win. Maybe they think he can't, but I hear what Peter's saying with the support. Trump has defied expectations to this point, and if he gets the nomination, who's to say he can't win?
Yeah, well, yes. I think there's some real concern that he couldn't appeal to independents and things. But Peter is right. If you're the Republican National Committee chair, what you're trying to find is a candidate who can win in November, but can also harness that energy that these Trump supporters have. It's kind of like when the Tea Party, really came to be. The Republican Party did a pretty good job of being able to harness that energy for their candidates. If they can do this with Trump supporters, they will have a very good chance of winning in November.
What do you envision? Who are Trump supporters? Because I'm trying to think in the big scale in a national, election. I have to wonder, and the demographic in this country and the voting blocks have changed over the years, but there is a very, very large and influential Hispanic vote now. We have many Hispanic citizens in this country. And I find it hard to believe that there would be many Hispanics that would vote for Donald Trump based on many of the things he's said. Now, I could be wrong on that. There may be some out there that, if you are Hispanic and you're going to vote for Trump, I'd love to hear from you. But I'm just saying, I don't see him getting much, and I wonder... And I don't know how many of the African-American vote will go his way, maybe some, but without those votes, I don't know how he can win, whereas some of the more moderate Republican candidates, or maybe not moderate, more established ones, could attract some of that vote. Sure. I just don't see Trump. If you're Hispanic and you're voting for Trump, please call me, because I just don't get it.
Yeah, demographics have made it tougher for Republican candidates to win national elections because you can't really get 2 or 3% of the African American vote, get not a very good percentage of the Latino vote, so it has made it tougher.
Yeah.
The party has made a lot of overtures to try to, especially with Latino voters.
Sure.
But
well, what Trump has said.
I know there's a lot.
The things he's said.
I know there's a lot of fear. It's another Republican establishment issue with Trump, is that he has set them back a long way with trying to attract these new voters, these Latino voters. And I mean, he said, who are the Trump voters? And I think there are a lot of people who have, dealt with the trade has cost them, as one of the callers mentioned, trade has cost them jobs. They've seen probably competition from immigration that has forced them into lower wages. There are people that are living on the margins here that we've really got to understand that, any type of change and they are dealing and really suffering to make ends meet. And so I think we really have got to acknowledge and understand that, and it'll help us understand a whole lot more of the Bernie Sanders appeal, the Donald Trump appeal that's happening in the country.
No, I think that's a great point. It's just the balance and how it comes out. Because, when he says he wants to build a wall, I think that appeals to a lot of the people you just said who feel as though they've been damaged. But if you are someone who's Hispanic and he says these things about, they're just crooks coming over or whatever, that's going to turn them off. So I don't know how you walk that line and whether there's enough to compensate for the other in a national race. And that's probably what some of the establishment's worried about. So it's interesting again, but who's to say? He's making believers out of a lot of folks. The number 737-7587. If you're on hold, Linda, Tom, and others will get you in our final segment right after this. Stay with us.